What's up, y'all? It's your boy Thick Boy Gohan, and today I'm diving into one of the coldest, smoothest captains in all of Bleach, Byakuya Kuchiki. Now, I've been rewatching the Thousand-Year Blood War arc, and I had to pause and really sit with how far this man has come. I'm talking about his fall, his growth, and most of all, how deep his relationship with Ichigo really is by the end of the series. If Byakuya has ever been one of your favorite captains, drop it in the comments. And if you've ever had to change how you saw someone after really going through something with them, I want to hear that too. So let me break this down how I see it. Byakuya Kuchiki is the captain of Squad 6, and he comes from one of the noble families in Soul Society. That means he's grown up with power, tradition, and expectations sitting heavy on his shoulders. And it shows in how he moves. Real calm, real sharp, and low-key cold. His Zanbakuto, Senbon Sakura, is one of the most unique in the series. When he activates it, the blade scatters into 1,000 tiny blades that look like cherry blossom petals. It's beautiful, but deadly. When I first saw him fight, I thought, this man is untouchable. But as I kept watching, what really hit me was how much he grows. He's not the same man by the end of the story. And honestly, the growth. It made me respect him even more. Now let's talk about the Thousand-Year Blood War. To me, this arc feels like the moment when Bleach said, okay, playtime is over. The Vondenreich, this hidden army of Quincy led by Yuhabak, shows up and brings absolute chaos to the Soul Society. They've been in the shadows for thousands of years, and when they strike, they go for blood. They can even steal Bankai. Yeah, y'all heard that right. They can steal Bankai, the trump card that all these captains have had in their back pockets. Now, I knew this arc was going to be different when even the captains, folks we've looked up to for hundreds of episodes, especially if you watch the filler, once they started dropping off like flies, nobody was safe, especially Byakuya. Now this one hurt. Byakuya goes to fight As Nodt, one of the Sternritter. This dude's ability is all about fear, not just making you afraid, but paralyzing you mentally and emotionally. And Byakuya, who's always cool under pressure, gets wrecked badly. Senbon Sakura gets taken. Byakuya's body is torn up, and what felt like his final moment, he looks at Ichigo and says, "Protect Soul Society." Y'all, I had to pause that episode right then and there. The man who once didn't even respect Ichigo trusted him enough to carry on what he couldn't finish. That was the moment I saw how much he'd changed. And it also told me that this was war. This was real. Let me know in the comments, did y'all think Byakuya was done for at that moment? Because I really thought that was it. And so did Kubo, quiet as it's kept, because he definitely meant to kill him off, but the fan said absolutely not. And then he decided to rewrite him back into the story, but we'll get into that in a different video. You see, when I sat back and thought about it, I realized Byakuya's loss wasn't just physical. It was emotional. It was spiritual. He wasn't just beaten, he was humbled. Before this, he believed in rules and keeping distance and handling things by himself. But his fall to As Nodt showed him, and us, that being a leader means sometimes asking for help. It means admitting when you can't do it alone. When he turned to Ichigo, I saw a man who finally let go of his pride. That moment just hit different. Now Byakuya eventually survives, but he's barely hanging on. He gets taken back to the Royal Palace, where Squad 0 helps him recover, and I'm not gonna lie, I didn't know if he was ever gonna fight again. I mean, honestly, his wounds, when I tell you he was torn to shreds, that man was done for. But while his body was healing, I think his mindset was too. He realized that being noble isn't just about bloodlines and pride, it's about responsibility, it's about growth, and it's about learning from your mistakes. When he comes back later in the arc, man, the energy is different. He's focused, he's still calm, still precise, but now there's humility behind it. That's what made me fall in love with this version of Byakuya all over again. So let's talk about that rematch one good time. So Byakuya gets another shot at As Nodt, and this time he's ready. No fear, no hesitation, just full control. When he brings out Senbon Sakura, I could tell that this was no revenge trip. This was a statement. He calmly dismantles As Nodt. No yelling, no flexing. Just pure skill and growth. He wasn't fighting like the old Byakuya who wanted to prove something. He was fighting like a man who already knew who he was. It gave me chills, honestly. Segueing to chills, him allowing Rukia to administer the final blow was poetic and such a great passing of the torch between the two of them. Now I want to talk about what might be the most powerful part of this arc for me, Byakuya and Ichigo's relationship. When these two first met, they couldn't stand each other. Ichigo challenged everything Byakuya believed in, and Byakuya was dead set on following the rules, even if it meant letting Rukia die. But what I love is how real their bond becomes. After their fights, after everything they go through, Byakuya comes to respect Ichigo, and not just as a fighter, but as someone who stands up for what's right. In the war, when Byakuya asks Ichigo to protect the Soul Society, it's not about power, it's about trust. And to me, that shows just how much both of them have grown. Drop a comment and tell me what your favorite Byakuya and Ichigo moment is. I love hearing what scenes hit y'all the most. Me personally, I love the scene when he says, "Don't get cocky, boy. I think it's time that you learn some respect." Or something to that effect, and then he starts raising his spiritual pressure. It's pretty dope to me. Byakuya's story is powerful because it shows what real growth looks like. He starts off proud, cold, and distant, but by the time this arc ends, he becomes someone who knows how to listen, who understands that strength isn't just about being the strongest, but about knowing when to ask for help. That moment of him falling, rebuilding, and coming back stronger, that taught me something. It reminded me that falling doesn't make you weak, it makes you human, and standing back up with more understanding than before, that's real strength. So yeah, Byakuya Kuchiki is more than just a noble captain with a cold stare. He's a man who's changed, a man who's broke, healed, and stood back up. And to me, that makes him one of the deepest and most important characters in Bleach. If this helped you see Byakuya in a new light, or if you've always been a fan of his, do me a favor, like this video, drop a comment, and if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button. I've got more deep dives coming soon. So if there's a character you want me to break down next, let me know below. Thanks for watching. This is Thick Boy Gohan, and I'll catch y'all in the next one. Peace.